It's 9:30. I will call the meeting to order. We have a quorum. I'll take a motion to approve the agenda.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries. Information regarding the bids for repairs in DD 34. I'll turn it over. This is Val, the drainage clerk.
Yeah.
I think everyone was here at the last one. So basically what we've come to is we discussed that was roughly a mile area there that needed fixed, possibly going up until it joins at the main. So we've kind of gotten bids back in. Let's see, so we got one from Nettleton, and then Pop Canic gave us rough tile, like how much per tile, and they said anywhere from $5 to $10 to install per foot. But our amount's gonna be kind of getting up there. So I think what with just yours, Brian, it was like the tile, if we did the whole thing, the tile was gonna be like about 190. And then I added up the extras for stuff, it'd be about another 43,000. If I added that right.
Yeah. The total in front of me,
Yeah.
I looked at it this morning.
But we're gonna be about 240,000-ish.
If we need the rock.
If-
you
yeah.
want the top crushed, I mean,
So we're just kind of getting up there in prices, so we just wanted to bring everyone in, kind of discuss. I guess options, yeah,
Problem we have is 197,000 is our threshold. With according to the DOT,
196.
196.
Yeah.
so,
to have to bring an
Once
At
engineer.
196, we have to get an engineer.
yeah. So that's why we're basically asking you guys again is. I think it's pretty straightforward. I don't know that engineering would be a ton, but there's still gonna be that cost that would get added to it. So we're, I don't know. There's just too many variables on whether we can stay below that threshold or not to avoid engineering, but.
Why do you split it into two contracts, 2 years, do half of it 1 year and then the other little upper half later with that?
Not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
We're supposed to look at a project as a whole.
Okay.
That's Iowa code.
You know, it's kind of it would be a lot easier for everybody. We will agree with that, but that's from what the drainage code says, it's not the proper way, so we gotta also be careful of that too. But. So I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? Do we continue moving forward? We know, I mean,
Needs to be fixed, right?
Yeah,
Just
it's gonna rain someday.
yeah, well, and we know that,
Especially with El Nino.
yeah. Yeah. And then this, you know, this is like any other project, it can be. We can set price or rates and all that stuff too for up to 20 years, you know, to pay back over time, so if you can afford it and wanna pay it off right away, that's fine, if not, you can go up to 20 years. With a bond, or there, is that the bonds or the
Waiver,
waivers?
Yeah.
Stamp warrants, yeah, stamp warrants, so,
And on the last project, we did use 6%. So. Just a heads up.
which is actually very fair. Rate right now, so. But yeah, so we're kinda after, I guess, what do you guys think, do we? Continue?
Roughly how many acres is this? That two.
Well, that would be the next thing.
Uh-huh.
Reclassification too. Which is probably needed.
I guess I don't have all the acres in it, I mean, we do have a couple classifications on that one. But I mean, it's the main tile, so it's still gonna be everyone. What did I have for,
Basically, yeah.
I should have printed off how many, yeah,
But
acres we have in
everyone
that
in
one.
34,
34, yeah.
3304 is what's been on this first sheet of paper.
Is that what I put on there?
First time,
All right,
35,000?
3,500, I think.
Well, 3,500. Yeah, 35,000, that's a big ditch, or big area.
Big areas.
Yeah,
Came on this spreadsheet that was sent the very first time, I believe.
And that's one of the things, the engineer, if they get him involved, he's gonna we should do a reclass too. And what that boils down to is depending on where you live and closeness to this area and to the ditches and stuff like that. In other words, you don't end up paying to fix this over here when you're way over here and not using it
Going forward.
going forward.
This wasn't reclassified, like the rest of them were reclassified. We
Yeah, we just
earlier.
went-
This one was recent reclass.
Oh, was it? Okay.
34th, yeah.
Gotcha.
So we've already got that portion done.
We've got
That-
our
That's done
schedule.
then.
Okay, well, that makes life a little easier.
Yeah, that does make.
Then everybody kind of.
Thank you.
Then we can assess right away and not have to wait for that, and you'll know where you are going into the project.
Right.
Well, the way the bids are coming in, we almost gotta get an engineer involved. It's over 196,000. So, and it's gotta get fixed.
Yeah, repairs are the responsibility of the trustees, and that's you.
So,
My question is though, I mean, what I bid was. To go between, what is it, 450 and 440, so,
Yeah,
I mean, it continues on another mile or mile and a half, so I mean.
I don't know if there's a problem up that far though, because like I explained to you, where the water comes out of the intakes and goes into the intakes, I think I got it narrowed down to about where it starts to work again, or at least starts to work better.
Right,
And it's a lot larger tile, closer you get to the bottom.
Right, yeah.
That
Or my point is, I mean, if an engineer comes in, it's still two projects if you only do. Unless they find, I guess, that the bottom half is good. I mean, I can't imagine it's in any better shape than the other, but when it's bigger, it probably handles it. You know, but
yeah, and they. You know, they might. I guess if they come up with the same theory that it seems to be working properly from that point. North, right, cause it runs north,
yeah,
that point north, then they may say the same thing, oh, we could fix this and. Let that go. But, yeah, technically. So, yeah, it sounds like just that mile is the big thing. Basically.
right between.
340, 150.
440 and 450.
440.
So,
Then it gets bigger there, but. I mean, yeah, I don't know, I guess my price is at 109, low
Yeah.
190s, but unless you need rock and unless you need.
yeah,
You know, if you don't wanna crush, if you're gonna keep the old tile in place. I mean, I didn't know exactly how to bid this without, you know, typically I do work with an engineer and they spell it all out, you know, I just.
well, it makes it a lot easier, yeah. Yeah,
Now granted, I know they're expensive and, you know, they tend to over design sometimes and, you know,
yeah.
but.
I don't know, within a few years, it's gonna be plug and fill anyways, and then it'll work regardless, I guess, but I don't know. If it's gonna create more problems if you don't do that.
I mean, typically, we don't dig down the old pipe. We move over to the side just because if it's a lot of water running in it, it's a pain in the ass, you know,
Yeah.
Jay,
Yeah,
to dig right where the,
you
now,
can
if
keep,
it's bone dry and full of sand, you know, you can, but then you get a lot of debris in your backfill, you know, you gotta be careful that you bury.
How do you detect all the laterals coming in from the other side?
Well, that's why they typically make you go back and crush it and look for them. Okay. You know,
then any laterals on that side, you'd have to grab from here and
you
bring.
gotta bring across.
Yeah,
The side you're digging on, you'd catch them as it, you know, that's why they add that removal of the tile.
and then you guys probably got pretty decent tile maps up there, right, Josh?
Yeah, some of these tile maps, you know, these 75, 80-year-old tile are in the maps.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah, you definitely gotta investigate, you know, so. You either dig down the tile so you find them all.
Yeah.
Or you go back later and, you know. And, you know, well, no, you go back and dig it up and crush it, then you crush it below the ground though, and you don't end up with all the shards laying on top.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean, it's just a cleaner,
yeah,
and then you find all them tiles that are on the opposite side and bring them across, and that's just part of the project. But
right,
I was just trying to separate. I mean, I was trying to reach that threshold of the 190, or whatever it is. You know. I mean, typically, if it's wet, you gotta use some rock, you know, to support, you know, we're trying to fix it right, not half-assed again.
right. If that's the case, these guys will just keep fixing and fixing and fixing for years if it were,
Right.
you know, yeah, you want it done right, so.
Yeah, I mean, like, I just assumed you'd maybe say, well, let's do what we can and then push it away, you know, I didn't realize they had some code that they don't really
Yeah.
like to see that,
No, they do, and it's,
I can't imagine you couldn't get around that somehow, but but whatever.
Yeah. What do you guys think? I guess wanna,
What's the engineer, any idea what the engineer's gonna cost? Half again as much as the price of the
no,
contract?
no, they're, I wanna say,
15 to 25%.
yeah,
I guess.
15 seems like a standard number, 15% of the project,
So
so.
maybe more than that, but. Depends on who you get too. I mean,
Yeah, Bolton does all of our drainage stuff, so I mean, if, even if it's 200,000, if they're 20% of that, look at 40,000, so.
And they
Somewhere.
just did the reclass on this one, so they've been dealing with it recently.
Yeah, so and the reclassification is done, so that's a good thing,
That's a good.
and everybody pays the proper, which since it's a main, everybody's gonna pay. That entire 3,500 acres or whatever will pay.
Do they all pay the same or is it prorated differently?
It depends on your proximity to it, to the main, soil type, so the guy on the bottom end will pay a little bit less than the guy on the top end, cause the guy on the top end uses the whole thing. So it kind of breaks out different that way. Soils are have a little bit to do with it. I think there's 4 different factors.
That one, it's not 134 acres, it's 134 parcels. So some of the parcels are smaller, they're not full 40s.
Sure. So,
Comes down to the fact of needs to get repaired. And the thing is real close to the threshold. Or we probably should get an engineer involved.
in all
but-
honesty, since it's just a repair. I don't know that the engineering would be all that terrible because they know, they have an idea what's there. Just gotta get footage and pipe size and they're not redesigning the whole thing, you know what I mean? They're not, we're just repairing what's there, putting back in the same size. The only reason the engineer's involved is because of that threshold. And then we can give the contractors a set list of parts and stuff that need to be done, a list of materials, so. The engineering.
Once you do the engineering, you'd only look at upsizing and make, cause I mean, granted, it's too small too, for one thing, but
Well,
parts of it, I mean, or does that open up another?
That's an
If they-
improvement then.
If they come.
But then if they're already working on it,
Yeah.
you can do that.
It's just
do
part of
that.
the cost. It'll all be the same part of the same project. Instead of a 12-inch here, you might be a 15 now, or whatever,
Yeah, but I'm just.
But that could be a
saying,
part of their
that's gonna
engineering findings too, is,
Yeah, they might recommend bringing the larger tile up a little farther if it's feasible,
Well, I know the 20s you can't get, so I mean, you're looking at upsizing them to a 24.
And that's fine.
Minimum, yeah.
They can.
Yeah.
Unless they
About
do,
that.
it should be bigger than that,
Mhm.
but by doing that, if that gets them what they need, maybe that's just it, just the upsize of the.
I'm just throwing it out there that the $200,000 project's gonna go a lot higher if they start upsizing and.
And what we can do is. Have them do it, get a report. Report's ours for 10 years, it belongs to the district, so. And then,
Go from there.
bid it, basically, and see where the bids come
I mean,
in.
how fast can they turn stuff around fairly quickly? I mean, boy, it's dry now, it's time to do.
That's depends on
It's
how,
usually-
Josh said it's pure sand. I think if we do start getting monsoons, it'll be way harder, way more expensive, but.
The last time I talked to Jacob, he said they don't have a lot on their plate right now, so
maybe we could get a quick
I
turnaround.
assume it'd be fairly decent.
Still get it on this fall project maybe,
That'd be nice.
be nice, which it could still turn wet quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say.
So I could reach out to him today and get him rolling on that. And then when he gets us the report back, we'd have to have another meeting, right? Just to show you guys the report, the prices, what they're talking.
They'd have estimated costs then.
Yep.
And then it could go out for bids.
And that's where they'd have the, options for any improvements too. And how much
Yeah.
that would cost,
Mhm.
Sound
if they're
good?
necessary.
Is there a motion to engage an engineer?
Most to engage engineer, Bolton,
Is there a second?
What's that?
I have a motion and second to engage an engineer. Any further discussion on that? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion carries. We will engage an engineer and get back to you. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
I have a motion, a second to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned.